There's a forest in Larne, Northern Ireland, a place where the wind carries whispers older than memory, where the trees grow so thick that sunlight fears to touch the ground. Ballyboley Forest. To the casual visitor, it is serene, a green, rolling expanse filled with birdsong and the faint scent of wildflowers. But to those who know, it is a place alive with something darker, a forest that has claimed the lost and the curious for centuries. Local tales speak of Druids, long before the castles rose and the kingdoms fought. They say that in the northeastern corners of the forest, circular trenches and stone formations remain, proof of ancient rituals, of ceremonies meant to commune with forces unseen. And with those forces, something that did not leave. Between the 15th and 17th centuries, villagers whispered of people vanishing, whole families, travelers passing through, hunters never returning to their homes. Not one or two, but several over centuries. Entire communities feared the forest, and even now, long after it became a public park, most will not enter beyond the beaten paths. It is said that the forest itself watches. Those who have ventured off the trails tell of shadows that move against the wind, of figures that appear for a moment and vanish into the trees. The air grows cold, heavy, as though the earth itself is holding its breath. And then a sound, a soft moan, low and human, yet filled with anguish, a scream that tears through the silence, a flap of wings too large for any bird, cutting through the trees with unnatural force. Ballyboley Forest is not just haunted, it is alive with something waiting, something that remembers the blood and rituals of centuries past. The Druids were said to be wise and terrifying in equal measure, custodians of knowledge older than the kingdoms themselves. They understood the rhythms of the earth, the cycles of the moon, and the thin veil between this world and the otherworld. Walking among the northeastern trenches, one feels the weight of those rituals still pressing into the soil. Stones embedded in precise circles, earth mounds raised with intent, and pathways that seem to hum with energy. These formations are not accidental. They are deliberate, carved with power, meant to summon or to contain. Locals insist that these are the remnants of portals, gates to realms beyond human understanding. Children of the village who wandered too close often return pale and silent, speaking only of a blackness that moved like people but had no face, of figures that seemed human until you blinked. And when night falls, the forest becomes a stage for the unseen. The black smoke is not fire or fog. It rides among the trees, forming shapes that mimic the living, only to vanish when approached. Those who hear the screaming voices speak of them as alive, intelligent, mocking, echoing across the clearing as if replaying centuries of torment. Ballyboley Forest was never meant for ordinary eyes, and yet we have always been drawn to look. Among the most persistent of sightings is a woman. She is never fully seen, only glimpsed, a figure in white, moving slowly, sometimes moaning, sometimes reaching out with hands pale as moonlight. Locals call her the Lady of Ballyboley. Her origin is unclear. Some claim she was a Druid priestess, protecting the forest long ago. Others say she was a villager, lost and claimed by the forest when she wandered off the paths centuries ago. Whatever her story, she walks still, her presence a warning to the living. Visitors describe an overwhelming feeling, as if the forest is breathing through her. The further you move from the path, the heavier the air becomes. The mist curls around your legs, whispers in languages you do not know, and carries the faint scent of smoke and iron. And then you hear it, the flapping sound, a rush of wings, louder than any owl or hawk, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. The lady never moves fast. She glides, but the sound, the moan, the way the air vibrates around her, it is impossible to ignore. Those who meet her gaze speak of eyes full of sorrow and accusation, as if the forest itself is judging their trespass. And yet, despite the terror, there is beauty too, a tragic allure that pulls the living closer to the edge. Not all the forest horrors are solitary. Many witnesses have reported seeing 4 human-shaped figures, standing silently among the trees. They are blacker than shadow, taller than any human should be, and eerily still. They do not move unless you look away. When your eyes shift, they are closer or gone entirely. They do not speak, yet their presence is felt, a pressure on the chest, a cold that seeps into the bones. Once, a group of teenagers ventured off the main trail to investigate the formations. They reported being surrounded. The air went still. One of them felt a hand brush against his shoulder, but when he spun, there was nothing. And then, simultaneously, all four appeared, at the edges of the clearing, their faces featureless, their limbs just slightly distorted, human yet impossible. The screams that followed were not human either. Something else had joined them, a sound that tore into the mind, primal, endless. By the time the group returned to the park entrance, one of them could no longer speak, while another claimed he had seen his own shadow leave his body and walk away into the trees. The forest does not forgive curiosity. The ancient Celtic stories speak of the Otherworld, a realm parallel to our own, accessible through thin places, cracks in the earth, circles of stones, and sacred forests. Ballyboley is said to be one such place, a gate hidden beneath centuries of roots and moss. Those who linger too long report the same thing, the feeling of being watched, then drawn. The trees seem to shift, the ground tilts underfoot, and time itself slows. Shadows move in ways the eye cannot follow. Occasionally, a visitor will glimpse a black portal, a shimmer of movement that is neither water nor mist. Locals say that entering the forest without respect is a grave mistake, that once the veil touches you, the otherworld begins to reach back. Some never return. Others come back, changed, eyes hollow, voices trembling, minds haunted with glimpses of places that should not exist. Even those who walk only along the paths speak of faint trails that appear behind them, footprints leading off into nowhere, vanishing just as you follow them. And the lady in the mist? She is the guardian. She does not attack, not directly. She waits. She watches. She guides or lures. Ballyboley Forest endures. Centuries have passed. Kingdoms have risen and fallen. Yet the forest remembers. It remembers the blood, the rituals, the vanishings, and the eyes that dared to trespass. Every flapping sound, every moan, every black figure glimpsed among the trees is proof that the forest is alive with memory and hunger. The circular trenches and stone formations remain, pulsating faintly, an energy left behind by those who understood the true power of this place. Today, the forest is open to public, but the paths are well-trodden for a reason. Locals avoid straying off them. Visitors sense it immediately, the weight of history pressing down, the sense that unseen eyes are always following, always judging. Some hear the lady of Ballyboley calling their name. Others see the four figures standing silently, waiting. And if you listen closely, you may even hear the laughter of the forest itself. Cruel, ancient, patient. Ballyboley Forest is not merely haunted. It is a threshold, a place where the past reaches forward, and the otherworld brushes against the mortal realm. And if you enter, be warned. The forest does not forget, the forest does not forgive, and it never lets go.